Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Flames of Damnation. Edward Hales screamed in crippling pain as the thick black waxy potion covered his right hand, face and chest. He hissed as the damn potion felt like it was ripping every single cell out of his body. He collapsed to the ground. The ice-cold concrete floor of the basement was rather nice against the intense burning sensation covering his skin. Even the occasional lump and bump was a nice contrast to the immense pain that ripped through his entire body. His skin felt like an inferno. His long black curls felt like they were being ripped out of his skull. And his brain felt like 1,000 hammers were smashing into it every single second without a moment of relief. The strange hints of smoke, burnt wood and burnt rubber filled his eyes. Edward tried to focus on the damn smell, but he couldn't. The pain was just too much, and his body was trying to combat the damn potion way too much for him to deal with anything else. He had to escape. He had to live. He had to recover before the evil waxy potion killed him. The loud crackling of flames, popping of logs and roaring flames echoed round the basement for a moment. Edward looked up at the wooden ceiling. He barely feel the heat, but the flames were coming through. Edward bit his lower lip as an intense headache corkscrewed across his forehead like a hot knife through his brain. He hated Marianne Jason. Hated her. All he had wanted to do was make her a demon to cure her from her disease, and this was the thanks he got. He had only wanted her to kill humans, eat them, and sacrifice their lives so he could live forever. That wasn't too much to ask, and now she had freed herself from his control. The monster, the evil woman and the bitch that needed to die. Edward forced himself up. He had destroyed most of the lab in the basement when him and Marianne had fought. The lab was rather basic, stupid, and pathetic, just like Marianne. Clearly, he had still done his job. Wooden shards of the lab bench, shelves and glass shards of various vials and chemicals littered the concrete floor. Edward noticed a wooden staircase and went towards it. The roaring flames got even louder, then the ceiling collapsed. Flaming shards, chunks and lumps of wood fell onto Edward. Massive wooden beams smashed into him. Edward fell to the ground. Flames engulfed him. The potion got even more intense. Edward screamed as his arm muscles melted away, his skin turned to liquid and his entire life flashed before his eyes. He forced his body to regenerate, to recover, and to heal itself. He had killed so many people over the past 200 years, he had been stabbed and punched. He could regenerate from all of those wounds. Why was this damn potion any different? Edward screamed as loud as he could, as he saw large crimson-red spider-like plants grow out of his flesh. He felt the roots churn his flesh, blood and bones up like they were nothing but soil. The awful aroma of charred flesh, burnt wood and burnt hair assaulted his lungs. Every breath felt like he was breathing in a volcano. Edward closed his eyes and tried to reach out beyond the basement. He was Edward Hales, the brilliant man who had been alive since the 1800s because of a demonic pact. He killed people, he ate them, and he played games with mortals to make sure he always had control over them and enough life energy. He was not dying tonight. This was Hell's place. He had owned the land the former council estate was built on for over 200 years. This was his domain, and he controlled everyone inside. He had more demons, more monsters, and more servants than anyone could ever know. All he needed was a single servant to come and save him. He needed them. Yet he only felt coldness. Edward bit his lower lip. He psychically reached out beyond the basement, but he could only feel coldness. Immense coldness. Almost like there was nothing beyond the basement. No life, no death, no building. Just pure nothing beyond the basement. Edward opened his eyes. That couldn't be. That was impossible. That was monstrous. He had killed millions of people in the past 2 centuries, so this did not happen. Servants! Edward shouted as loud as he could. His shouts simply got devoured by the roaring flames. Edward swung his arms forward. He kicked and grabbed a massive flaming wooden beam. The flames burnt his hands. Crippling pain shot into his arms. The spider-like roots churned up more of his body. Edward pushed the wooden beam up. His muscles protested. His bones vibrated as they struggled to lift the beam. His entire body shook under the strain. He threw the beam to one side. He stood up, walked across the flaming wreckage of the ceiling, and he forced himself to climb up the flaming walls. The foul aroma of burnt rubber, plastic, and wood assaulted his senses, but Edward pushed on. He marched through the burnt-out living room that only had the smoldering remains of a sofa, TV, and bookcases remaining. The black front door was still open. He went outside and Edward collapsed onto the front garden. The ice-cold grass hissed under the heat of his scorched body. The main road was only a few meters away, and it was already cracking, popping and blistering from the raging inferno happening underground. A cold breeze brushed his cheeks, and Edward's deformed hands formed fists. He hated how weak, pathetic, and broken he was. Edward ripped out the rest of the damn spider-like plants. Shards of bones, long muscle fibers, and liters of blood gushed out the wounds. He forced his demonic body to heal itself, but his body couldn't. Whatever was in the evil potion, he had never seen it before. His body wasn't sure how to recover, how to get stronger, and how to dissolve it. He had been poisoned before, and most poisons were child's play. This potion was not. The distant sound of a young couple laughing, chatting, and making suggestive gestures to each other made Edward smile. He looked up and noticed that the couple was walking on the opposite side of the road to him. The woman looked tasty in her little black dress, with her bare legs exposed in the nighttime air, and she was walking brilliantly in high heels. Not a lot of women could achieve that. Even the man didn't look too bad in his crisp white shirt, black trousers, and trainers. Edward stood up, zoomed towards them, and tripped over his own feet. He landed straight on the pavement. The rough pavement shaved off the skin of his cheek, and he bit his bloody tongue in pain. He wasn't strong enough. He couldn't hunt, he couldn't kill, and he certainly couldn't do anything against Marianne for now. The realization slammed into him like a ton of hammers. He was weak. For the first time in 200 years, he was weak and vulnerable, and just as pathetic as all the other mortals. He was so used to killing, so used to being immortal, and so used to being the strongest person alive. Now he was nothing. Marianne had managed to make him mortal for a while, and it would only be a while. Edward forced himself up. His joints, bones, and muscles groaned in protest, but he was going back to his lair, and he was going to recover. Whatever Marianne had done, it could be undone. His body would deconstruct the toxicant, and his body would make sure he was immune to it forever. Marianne might have won this round, but she wouldn't always win. One day far from now, Edward would find her, kill her, and make an example out of her. No one hurt him, no one insulted him, and no one made him weak without punishment.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteley Verse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.